Okay, so in this case, I need to move, not a special case, but just the general part because my topic is regarding teachers. So, Ciudadela del Sur is a public institution that is here in Colombia, South America. And the most important part that I want to clarify here is that from the national budget that we have, they invest in education 70% of the total budget for the salary of the teachers. 24% is given for administrative processes, 4% for unforeseen, and 3% is just given for quality education. And in quality education, you have covered this topic about disabilities. And that money comes from the gross domestic product. So this is very important to clarify here in my country. Moreover, the government created a figure called support teacher, who is supposed to guide teachers to adapt curricula and environments for students with disabilities. Unfortunately, that person only has a palliative role where recommendations and basic diagnostics are given to the teacher, and the teacher is supposed to organize the whole classroom and the lesson. I already know that this is our mission, but sometimes here we have a problem because we have that problem of medical diagnostic that is part of the health system, and we are not part of the process. So, for example, if we need medical issues, can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If they need, for example, medical issues, such as services, psychotherapy, pills, and they are not into that process, it would have a huge impact inside the classroom. Moreover, we have the part of parents that sometimes are not committed with the situation of the students because they are not aware of the condition of their children. So that makes worse the problem. And of course, the other part is that teachers, regarding all the research that I already made with a PhD, are very frustrated with all the processes that are taking part here in Colombia of regarding disabilities. So let's say in the first place, I have one question for you from your perspective and your expertise. How to coordinate the school, parents, and health services with the inclusion processes proposed by a government?
Okay. How to coordinate the various actors towards inclusion as proposed by the government. I'm aware that this might be very different from country to country, depending on the provisions that are there, even legally and in terms of policy. That said, I would also say that in the preparation of, for example, the plan, that is the program of action that you would normally make in the process of preparing to teach our learners with disabilities, and that should include all the learners, and not all the learners. Sorry, that should include the learner. I meant all the actors. That should include the learner and the parent, as well as other professionals, the medics and education psychologists, etc. Regarding how to get them together and to coordinate them might be a matter of country to country arrangements, and that might be different per country. For instance, maybe some of the countries might facilitate the inclusion of these medics to come and to make the individualized education program, the IEP, for example, or the individualized education plan, because I believe that is what you are sort of inferring to or referring to, where you put all the actors together and you agree on a way forward for this child, including the child, their parents, and the other actors that are involved, including from the education and the medical field. So I think the best a teacher can do would be to contact those people that are supposed to come would be to try to agree on a specific date and place to be able to do that, because I'm not sure about Colombia, but I know that in Kenya we do not have financial provision, for example, to facilitate the parent to come from the home to the school or to the education center. In our case, it would be the educational, either the educational assessment and resource center for the assessment, or the school for preparation of the IEP. So since we don't have that kind of provision financially, then it's up to the parent to be able to organize and fund themselves, finance themselves to come over there. So yes, we do have provisions for the IEP in teacher training for special and inclusive education and all that on paper, but how do you make it work? The resources are what the inhibition is for us. In Colombia, I'm assuming that you have this on paper like we do. That's why you're saying as the government requires, but you don't have the facilitation to get the doctor from the hospital. You may not have a sitting allowance for the medical doctor, or maybe facilitation for their fuel. And many of the times the school may not be next to the hospital. And I know that is what you're talking about. And I think it's more of a resource issue that might be out of the hands of the teacher. It's really out of the control of the teacher, really, pretty much. You might want to do the right thing, and the best you can do is contact them, tell them that you're requesting this. Alternatively, you might use the alternative of technology. You might organize for a video call. Nowadays, you can have WhatsApp, where you call more than one people. So you can have the medic, you can have the parent at home, you can have the child, wherever they are in the school or at home with the parent, you can have the educational psychologist, everybody on a call. Now, there might be ethical issues about the safety of that call. Might it be infiltrated by a third party? I don't know about that and how it works there. But I think technology might help here, where you might want to call them on your phone or even on a computer, on a Zoom call like this one, and you can discuss those issues and come up with a way forward without incurring an expense.
Wow.
Okay, thank you. I just want to add something before we finish with the part of Colombia, because I think it's a very important space, like to share our experiences and to see that the world has many differences, but we are working in the same path to work for disability. Yes. So in this case, I want to add that in my school, we have 2,300 students, where we have 80 of them with diagnostic. Here in Colombia, we talk about disabilities when they have medical diagnostic. Otherwise, even if you see as the teacher that they have a condition, you can't do like the adaptations to the things that you want to work with them. But we have a special case because we have one blind teacher that started working with us 1.5 years ago, and Ken already know about him. He's working as the teacher of the second level of primary school. He has to give competences, not subjects. Yes. So it is very challenging because we already have talked to him, and he says okay, I'm doing everything like to work with disabilities and inclusion here in my classroom. But what happens when the disability is mine, and I'm a blind teacher, and I need a person to help me to work with my students, for example, in how do they write, how do they learn to read, and so on. And I don't have that special person who helps me from the government, even if I've tried to do like everything that is in my hands with law. So it's been very challenging, and I just wanted to put it into our conversation, because I strongly think that, for example, UDL here is just like, to be honest, like a random topic that has been talked in many meetings regarding inclusion. But the conception that we have about it here as teachers, as into the government, is that it must have lots of economic resources to work. Plus that we have still those classrooms with 35, 40 students per space, where everything is teacher-centered because of the structure of the classroom. We have lines, so we can do it is not possible to create all the time groups, or maybe to have a poster, or maybe I'm very lucky because I'm at one of the best public schools in the country, but because we decided to do so, because we have an amazing crew that decided to do so and are calling the attention of many people around the country to obtain the resources, the technological resources, and everything that we need. But it is not the same case in all the places that we have here in Colombia, where we don't have technology, we don't have materials, and enough economical resources to work on UDL. So I just wanted to ask if you have maybe special conditions such as the one that I mentioned regarding the teacher that is blind and is having to face that situation every single day of his life in his job.
We've actually run out of time, but I don't know if you want to respond to that, Dr. Martin, before we shut down, because they're going to kick us out pretty soon. So I actually bought us an extra 5 minutes, but go ahead, Dr. Martin, if you want to respond. I mean, God bless Colombia for having a blind teacher.
I'll just be very, very, very brief. I think our situation is pretty similar to the situation that I'm hearing, Laura present here. And for our teachers with disability, for example, the teachers who are blind in this country, the only support, really, the support that they have within the workplace environment is having a guide, which is catered for by the teacher, by the government. So they get to choose a guide for themselves, and the government provides an allowance for them that they can use to pay the guide of their choice. Apart from that kind of assistance, the rest of the operation is pretty much, they're expected to operate very much like any other teacher once they have the guide. So really, I wouldn't say that we've really gone out of our ways so much. Apart from providing the guide, there's a lot more that we need to do. But I acknowledge the difficulties that teachers with disabilities face. So it's really not very different here.
Wow. I thank you all. I really do thank you all. This is a fascinating conversation. When we set up the time for this session, I think it was like an hour and a half, and we said, "Wow, how are we going to feel an hour and a half?" I'm thinking how we're going to feel a day and a half on this conversation, because I think we should come back and have a separate webinar just on this event. But I'm surprised, Sam, you haven't come in and kicked us out yet because we ran over time. But thank you. It's a fascinating conversation. It's got to continue. It's very important, and maybe the team here, we can plan something else in the future. I much appreciate it. So thank you again, and I think Sam's going to jump in here at any moment now, and we'll get you off. But sorry we didn't get to your questions. I think there's a bunch of them that popped up in the Q&A, but we'll take a look at them and we'll get them off to each one of you, and we'll get answers to the people who ask those questions. Oh, thank you. Okay, there she is. She's in here to kick us off. So, okay, thank you, Sam.
Yeah, that was quite a nice panel, the United Nations, like to call it, and a lot of learning for teachers, for parents, and even for us advocates of learners with disability. Thank you so much, Dr. Martin. There are some questions on the chat. You can always go in and just answer. We've tried to answer some of them between me and Anne, but you can help us in getting detailed answers around them. But I want to say thank you to all the panelists. Thank you, Ken, for bringing them all together. A whole United Nations comparing. What comes out very clearly is that the challenges are similar. And so we have a lot of work to do as advocates. We have a lot of work to do, definitely. As a club, as parents, as teachers, and as people who are just interested in making sure that no child is left behind. So we'll take a break for the next session for a few minutes. We'll have a video, some small entertainment, and then I will proceed. Over to you, Angie, our entertainment tech person. Thank you.
Hello, everyone from around the world. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chad Harper, and I'm currently in Malaga, Spain. I'm the founder and CEO of Hip Hop Saves Lives, where we use music to educate about social issues,